the LEC, and it's now time for KOI to face off against Xayah. And we've got to talk, first of all, about KOI's new support, Advienne, who is your former bot lane duo partner at Rekkles.
Yes.
So I imagine you've got lots of nice things to say about him.
I do, yes. And we saw each other briefly now, said hi, and he looked very happy, which makes me happy because I think he is such a great guy. And that's one of his biggest strengths, I think, coming into this as well, that he is just such a pleasure to work with. He really cares for his team. He really tries to bring the best out of his team. And I think that is kind of the change maybe they're getting here, maybe the change that they were looking for. Just getting someone in with the shot calling, maybe someone that kind of like leads the pack forward so that the rest of the guys in the team can shine.
Yeah, I was looking actually at my notes from the Euphoria that you did together last split, and there was a lot of talk about parking the car and Hank Tech. Is he going to be bringing Hack Tech to KOI?
Very high chance he is. Actually, I think just from having him come into the spring, I kind of realized that he doesn't hold back. Like, he comes into the team when I played there and just sort of takes over. So I'd imagine something similar will happen here, where he is very strong in his way of how he wants the lane to play, how he wants the team to function. And I think that could only do them well, because they seem a little bit lost sometimes with where they're putting their pieces on the map. And they actually have good players. So if they can somehow find a way to just organize everything, I think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, it seems to me that KOI is kind of like a one-trick team in a lot of senses, where it's like, okay, can we either play for team fights, or okay, let's try and just look for a pick on a side lane, like quickly overload one part of the map, see if you can find someone who's overextended and make that play happen. Outside of that, it's not really working for them. So I do like the idea of adding Advienne here and trying to spice things up a little so they can try and make that work for themselves.
The interesting fact, though, about this swap with Trimby out and Advienne in is these guys don't share a top 5 champion pool. There's not really much crossover in their preferred playstyle and who they like to play. And right now, when you look at this meta, Trimby does have the edge. And Advienne's got to bring more than just a good mood.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big question mark here, because he does much prefer his kind of heavy engaged champions and trying to actually set up the team for success. But that's not really the meta that we're in at the moment, right? Nautilus isn't really being played. We're not seeing the things like the Thresh and the Braum anymore. So I think you definitely have to start to transition over towards, as we've seen, like Yuumis, Emilios, and all this kind of stuff. So I think it'll definitely be Advienne trying to adjust to this meta. But I certainly think if at least KOI can make it in towards groups and in towards playoffs, there is talk around the town that we're going to see a shift away from these enchanters in towards the more engaged meta, which is where I think Advienne will then be able to pop off.
Yeah, and hopefully then KOI can maybe transition into the team they want to be, which in my mind is top carry. Because how I see Advienne maybe playing a bit differently to Trimby is running around the map on the melee supports, trying to engage for his team, sacrifice for his team, and that will, in tandem, enable Szygenda, who has been, I think, having a kind of slow start, getting there, but with Advienne coming in, I think that can really give him the extra push to really be the carry for his team. And maybe now it's not possible with how strict the meta is, but that's, I think, the grand goal for KOI with this change.
But Comp's on your team. I mean, this is a man we've talked about as being one of the best ADCs in the LEC. He raised the trophy last year in Malmo. Surely you do want to send some resources way.
Yeah, I definitely think if you can try and get Comp up and rolling, especially with the meta that we're seeing at the moment, right? That is going to work out fantastically. You're enabling him with the Melios, the Lulus, everything is going down towards this bottom side of the map. And I think that's where a huge amount of this is going to be. Not only coming from Advienne, but also I think Malrang as well. I want to see a bit more of an aggressive champion pool so he can lean in towards these 3-man dives on bot side, making sure the Comp can get set up, because we've seen, as we said, KOI does like to rely on team fighting, and a huge amount of that rests on the shoulders of Comp.
Yeah, for me, Comp is kind of like the standard AD carry. He doesn't really try to push his advantage too much. He doesn't really play like the hyper-aggressive champions in lane or anything. He's just trying to farm up and be strong for the team fights, and that to me is Comp. So I think for KOI, it's just a lot about getting him to that position. It feels like sometimes the game kind of slips out of their hand before they even get to the point where Comp can carry, because if he is in that position, you saw it last year, you saw stints of it this year, he can carry games, so they just need to get there.
Rekkles, it sounds like you're describing yourself.
Yeah, actually, I actually it's funny you say that, because I think Comp is very much a mirror of how I function as well as an AD carry. I always like to put myself in a position where maybe I don't push my lead too much in the laning phase, but I get to a point in the game where I can carry, and I think Comp plays the exact same game. So I can really resonate with what he's trying to do, and I think his team just needs to understand that as well, and I hope that he's able to communicate that to his team, because I think it is a player that can really carry you to, I mean, a title. That happened last year.
Well, there's another team that obviously is looking for a title, and they definitely need a top 3 finish to even have a chance at qualifying for the season finals, and that is XL. And they are coming into this with nothing to lose in the sense. They've got no further left to fall, but now they have Peach in their arsenal in the jungle. We just don't know much about him, though.
Yeah, I think that's the big question mark for XL. Last split, one of the biggest criticisms I had was, look, Cersei's just not in a position a lot of the times when, say, bot lane is being dove to actually be there to try and respond. He doesn't really seem to be tracking the enemy jungler, and the team starts to fall apart. But that was just one aspect of what was going wrong for XL. I think it's a lot to put onto a new guy in Peach to try and fix that, but also then a lot of the other problems that we're seeing on XL as well, where we're looking at, well, their team fighting is very disjointed. They don't really know what they want to achieve on the map. Like, I don't think Peach is suddenly going to randomly fix this. This is going to have to be something that they've been hammering home day after day since they dropped out groups and playoffs of spring.
Guys, I'm trying to think, about 2.5 hours into the show, and I don't think I've done anything justifiably cringy yet.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's Medic's birthday, you guys. Do I sing happy birthday? No, I don't. I like him too much, so instead I'm just gonna throw to him and Vedi. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Happy birthday, Medic! Woo!
Remember all
You're
this time?
107 years old. How does it feel?
Feels good, Vedi. It feels really good.
You're
And
looking good for your
you know what would feel even better?
Yeah.
What happened backstage was you told me you had a great gift prepared for
No,
me
I had
that you were going to
birthday
give to me.
card that I-
You were going to give to me
It's back.
on
I'll go get
the
it
desk.
right now. Do you want me to
said
get it
you were
right
going to give me
now?
a gift.
Do you want me to get it right now?
Wait, you're telling me you don't have a card for me, Vedi?
Yeah, I have your birthday card.
Oh, it's backstage.
It
is
is
it?
backstage.
Yeah, sure.
It is.
In the mysterious void of backstage
get
where
it,
you can
Tepper?
forget
Can I go
about
get
it.
his birthday card?
No, you can't, because then I have
Oh,
to
go
fill
on,
it by
go on.
myself. This is the worst start to a season I've ever had in the LEC. I'm going to be honest. I've been going through some things in the off season, and this just really put me on a spot. It is my birthday, that's true. So thank you everyone for telling me that. You're just going to have to stare at me, contemplating the existential void of life. Also thinking about Milio and Yuumi, which is not something I'm too entertained by. And Vedius is back. Thank you very much, Vedi. This looks like it was hastily written. Was it perhaps written in the couple of seconds?
I am very unfit.
Well,
You can open it.
Yeah, I'm going to open this up. I'm glad we have a minute to fill here, because otherwise this would be...
Yeah, you can. You can show that to the camera. There it is.
Isn't that a positive thing to say?
Yeah. It's very soppy inside. You don't need to
It's
read
way,
that.
I'm going to cry if I read that,
yeah, you
actually,
will
so
cry.
that's way too soppy. Thank you very much, Vedi.
Whew. I need a drink. That's the wrong mute button.
You know, dog years, it's not like a linear scale like it is for humans, right? So you know how everyone says, oh, a dog ages 7 years for every year a human ages? It doesn't actually really compute as exactly as that. You know, like teenage years tend to be around, 2.5 to 3.5, sometimes
Why
even
do
up
you
to
know
4.
this?
Trevor talks a lot about his dog, and
So-
I have to listen.
KOI versus XL.
Yes,
We do have a game on our hands.
we do.
First game for both these teams, of course, here in summer. Neither team really had the spring that they wanted.
No.
KOI have kind of fallen from grace so far, from split to split.
Yeah.
And XL were currently the reigning 10th place team. So let's see if things can change as we get ready for game 1 draft.
Yes. Yes. And Milio. We need to add Milio in there as well. I want no Fuemigos to take the stage. Emilio is all about family. And just like the Fast and Furious series, it should have been ended before it really began. Let's be honest. Malcolm banned away. There's the buy as well. We expect Milio Yuumi. The problem is everyone's handshaking them, right? Maybe with the Xayah ban, things will change up a little bit. But so far, we have seen a lot of Milio and we've seen a lot of Yuumi. And we haven't seen much of Nico, but there's the Milio ban from XL.
The pressure now falls on the KOI. Do
we
they
go.
want to ban away the Yuumi? Well, I guess the pressure doesn't, because
You could first pick it.
you could first pick it.
Yep.
Exactly that. Nico, of course, can be removed. We've seen Nico priority across the world. Very, very powerful champion right now. Will the Yuumi be taken off the board? Things like Lucian, Aphelios, a lot of strong champions still up and available. How will XL round out their first ban phase? A lot of requests for the Yuumi to be banned away.
Understandably. Splat the cat. Send her to the void. Aphelios instead the ban. And it does kind of limit the power that Yuumi can have. You know, Yuumi Jinx still can be strong together, but Zeri and Aphelios tend to be the partner pairs, the best friends of the cat. Everything else gets clawed a little bit. KOI now looking towards what they will lock in first. And after all the talk about Advienne being a great engaged support player,
Advienne, like, it hurts himself to have to lock in the cat. How many cat years will this game take off your life is the real question, Medic. Well, it does seem that XL, by banning away the Aphelios, seem to have some answer prepared, right? The Annie likely going to be locked in for XL, should come as no real surprise in terms of high priority mid laners. We do look at things like Nico, Annie, Ahri, and with Nico already gone, wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Ahri response. Maybe we will actually see something like the Azir. We've been seeing it more and more recently. Couple of hovers.
I mean, Blitz is a 2-for-1 special in the bot lane.
True.
You hook who the Yuumi's on, you catch him out. Instead, Rakan locked in for limit. Does give you good engage potential as the game goes on, and follow-up. You know, flash Tibbers into quickness. That is something I can get down with in team fights.
The question is, what do they want to pair alongside the Yuumi? Right now, the hover is over Xayah. It does give you a lot of agency in lane, and they want to take it away from the Xayah Rakan bot lane potential of Patrik and Limit. We did talk about the Azir. We've already seen Azir a couple times here in the LEC. Will we see it for a third time? We know that Larssen, this is his most played champion.
Yep.
He is known as the Emperor for his proficiency on the champ and how comfortable he is on it. You did see the cheeky hover of the Cassante, a champion we didn't yet talk about, but of course, very, very powerful on the meta. XL could look to round their draft out with that if KOI choose not to lock in, as they will lock in the Gragas for themselves.
And so that Cassante and Azir still available, but of course XL will likely go towards an AD carry here. Otherwise, you risk the pool being a little bit pinched down towards the bottom lane. Samira does work well with the new Duskblade. You can spin while untargetable and put a lot of damage down with really no recourse from the enemy to respond.
Yeah, it's Duskblade Collector, something like that, right? You have a lot of execution damage, but would be surprised to see that one locked in. The Wukong, the jungle lock-in for XL. They want to make sure Peach has something that he can have a little bit of agency. And of course, you've been hearing the Analysts talk about it. The Peach, the newest addition to XL, replacing Xayah from previous splits. His debut game up against Malrang, a jungler that everyone in Europe is very familiar with now for his creative pathing and early game aggression. We'll still see where that Gragas is yet to go. Can, of course, be flexed into multiple roles, whether it be mid, top, or jungle. But the Poppy now being banned away from XL. Smart ban. I think it makes a lot of sense. You already have the Rakan that is going to be one of your primary engage tools alongside the Wukong. But for those that do remember MSI, this trio was like the god tier trio at MSI, right? You have so much agency. The snap engage potential is so lethal. You have to be very cautious when playing against it in the mid game. Xayah will give you a little bit of peel if you can react fast enough, but if you can't, you're likely going to get one shot. So some of these disengage tools are going to be very valuable for KOI.
I wonder what they'll look at. Azir obviously does have some disengage in his kit. The Emperor's Divide can help you sweep aside your opponents. Could look towards a jungler with some tools as well. Whether Malrang decides he just wants to keep ganking forever. The Jarvan, a possibility for him. Cassante already banned by KOI. Sejuani and Poppy taken away by XL in the second ban phase. And now I wonder where KOI will decide to put their focus with this second ban.
Yeah, they're not really choosing to limit any further AD carries. I guess they're not too worried about a Lucian lock-in. Maybe they could consider banning away the Draven. We did see the hover. We know that Patrik is very proficient on the champion, but they are still worried a little bit about the Jinx, so that will be an AD carry that they'll look to take off the board.
I wonder where XL will go. AD carry here makes the most sense. Save top for final pick. Give Odoamne some flex, and there it is. Patrik's Draven. Not quite up there alongside Hans Summer in terms of the most well-known Dravens here in Europe, but something we have seen him be incredibly proficient on across the course of his career. I think it's his 4th most played,
yeah, 16 games, 25% win rate.
Hey, if you can win 1 in 4 games, you're doing all right, Vedi, you know?
But definitely
better than my solo queue, at least.
It's definitely one of his most well-known games. The Jarvan lock-in, something we don't really see around the world, but Malrang, very well-known for his Jarvan. Are we really going to see the return of Corki? We've already seen a little bit of it over in the LCK. Will we see that locked in for Larssen? For those that remember, Larssen had a bit of an unforgettable moment with the Corki, so close to winning a series, and then a package that didn't quite go the way that he wanted to, but it will not be locked in. The Ahri very much as expected, fitting alongside what we've come to know and love here in the 13-11 meta. How will XL round out their top lane now? If they want to go for something a little bit more aggressive, they could go for something like a Gwen or a Jace. If they want to play it safe, they could just lock in the Scion. Ornn, also Gnar, all very viable. Something safe towards that top side. Very much a bot side focused draft here for XL. A very powerful mid jungle on both sides. Jarvan, Ahri versus Annie Wukong. You have to give the advantage in the early game to this Annie Wukong just because of that immediate CC, but that doesn't mean that there's no room for outplay. If Jarvan can land that combo, a charm connects from the Ahri as a follow-up. The one-shot potential is very real, but these mid-jungle combos are likely going to want to try and unlock themselves on the map. The thing you have to be concerned about is the prio that XL can get in that bot side of the map. Maybe that third, second wave, maybe they let the first lane push in so they can then set up for the later on dive, try and have Abbedagge roam down to the bot side and threaten that dive. You know that they want to try and snowball this Draven. And as the meta has become, it is once again very much around which bot lane can survive, which bot lane can get ahead, and how much control do you have around this bot side of the map.
I am quite pleased not to see Jinx Aphelios, even though it was, only because it's been banned away. The Xayah alongside him put to the wayside. Xayah and Draven, not two AD carries we see too often, although I think Xayah is relatively common after you fall out of the S tier. We do still have a Yuumi Vedi, so we can be half sad, No Milio, so we can't be full sad in this game. You can be half sad about the state of bot lane.
Cats. Surely you should love seeing cats.
I mean, that's...
Is it the dichotomy that you live with on the daily?
You don't really see the Yuumi, because she's always just a little attached thing, right? If we saw the cat prowling around like a Nidalee, 100% on board,
right.
And that fixes her main issue with the untargetability. But for now, it is KOI versus XL. As you said earlier, Vedi, XL 2 10th places basically need at least third in the entirety of Summer Split, if not better, to make it into our season finals. KOI,
they need some other things to go well for them as well, right? Like, it's not just about getting that top 3 position. They'll also need other teams to fall down so that they can even come close into the championship points. It is a very challenging road for XL, but it is very much a story of redemption for both of them, or a potential story, right? Like, KOI, last year's summer champions, and at the beginning of this year, they started fairly strong. In winter, we saw a very solid performance from them.
Yeah, third place is good.
Yeah, of course. But then in spring, they fell short to G2 at the end of the final round of the group stage, where they dropped down to 6th place. The expectations on the shoulders of this team are, of course, very high. Individually, they are very talented, but it didn't quite come together in the way that they wanted. And their expectations are that by bringing in Advienne, they will have a new dynamic. They were very open about the fact that by playing together for so long, they feel like that maybe they were stuck in their ways. The relationships weren't the same that they used to be. And the hope is that by bringing Advienne, it changes that atmosphere, it changes that approach, and now they can come in with a fresh mindset and kind of start anew and perhaps be a different rogue from what they were struggling with before.
And that sort of reset is always going to be hard, not only because you have a short period of time to do it. You only have, the month for MSI and then a couple of weeks either side to bring Advienne in and start adjusting things, but also because you're losing Trimby. And although Trimby hasn't had a great 2023, he was still a stalwart of this team and one of their key players in their run to the finals and winning last year. He was such a cornerstone for KOI. Now losing that voice is going to have an impact. The question is whether Advienne can be that refresher, that amuse-bouche that changes things for the team. We do have a slight delay on Sage as there is a settings issue reported by XL. Currently, our League Ops team is assisting and making sure everything is sorted. I can see Limit having his keyboard messed around with, so I'm going to assume that it is a problem on Limit's end. Maybe he's like, hey, this, Rakan, he has a cape, but I was expecting to play a ponchoed Fuemigo in the bottom lane. Where's my fire?
You just wanted to say Fuemigo.
I love saying Fuemigo, man. It's great. Donde estás, mis amigos?
How good are you with Spanish?
Oh, really, really great.
Really?
Yeah.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
E2.
Donde estás? La biblioteca.
Okay, I respect your effort. Fair enough.
I learned all of my Spanish from Community. Donald Glover, a saint, taught me everything I know.
You don't have a GCSE in Spanish.
Oh, really?
I got a B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you say GCSE in Spanish?
The same.
Are you sure?
Yeah. The letters wouldn't change.
Are you sure?
Sure. Anyway. Always happy to be back here. Summer Split. Reminder to everyone at home, if you're not familiar with how the LEC works, our format is a little unique compared to everywhere else in the world.
So I'm gonna stop you there, just to be really pedantic early on. Something can't be a little unique. It is either unique or it's not. It's one of a kind or it's not. You can't be very unique.
Yeah, but that's why it's only a little unique.
Our format is unique.
In the league ecosystem.
Sure.
But it's not unique in the sense that like it has never been done before. But it can be.
It's either unique or it's
argument
not.
now, Medic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help the audience
We're not going to go down the rabbit hole here, but I'm just saying, something can't be a little unique. It is either unique or it's not.
It can be.
No.
We'll debate this at another time.
Okay.
In any case, it's a 6-week
He's
format.
Wrong.
It's a 6-week format divided into 3 weeks of regular season, 2 weeks of group stage, and then we'll have a final week for the best of fives finals.
Yep.
All of this culminates in what is effectively our season finals, which is a 4-week-long tournament, which will consist of a double elimination best of 5, very similar to the old LEC kind of playoffs format.
Yeah. It's like an Uber playoffs, you know?
Yeah, and that will culminate in our finals happening in Montpellier in France. So,
and then after that, Worlds.
And after that, Worlds.
And then like 2 weeks into Worlds, vacation.
And then so the qualification for Worlds will be the top 3 teams that during our season finals.
The
so
top 3 teams in season finals, and then our 4th place team will play the 4th place team from the LCS.
Yeah, I always forget about that.
Royale, winner takes all.
I have no idea how that's happening, but apparently it is happening. Yep. Yeah, so we'll see 4th LEC versus 4th LCS, which is guaranteed to be a set of games. I
mean, right now it's like it could be TSM that we play up against. It could be Dignitas.
It could be anyone. Anyway, we're ready for our game 3 of the day. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it.
That was a really good handoff, Betty. We're actually just going to go straight into the game.
Oh, we are literally...
Yeah.
I thought there'd be music.
Sometimes there's music. You can do some music if you want, quickly.
No, I'm good. That's copyright. Copyright, Medic. Stop.
I'm not singing it accurately enough for it to matter, Betty.
30 seconds until minions
Level 1.
spawn.
Let's see what these teams are up to. XL potentially with a delayed invade. Comp and Advienne just chilling in the bot side of the map. Keeping an eye on where they invest these early wards. And Peach is someone who we're going to be keeping our eyes on in game 1. To those who are unfamiliar with him, actually has a bit of a history, Medic.
Yeah, he does. Used to play on the DRX Challengers team from 2020 to 2022, and then was on the Unicorns of Love team that made it to the EMEA Masters finals just a few weeks ago. He does tend to like these more supportive junglers, although I have seen him on things like the Graves in the past. One of his issues is that he likes to farm and sometimes isn't in the right position on the map at the right time to really help his laners. We'll see if he's corrected that on joining alongside XL.
Yeah, speaking to a lot of the EU Masters casters, they say that he's a very, like, well, selfish jungler in the sense that he focuses on making sure that he is set up for success and not always making sure that his laners are set up for success. XL have had issues in the past in terms of their lack of control and proactivity in the early game. However, in both winter and spring, Odoamne popped off. Like, it was the one game where we really saw kind of XL looking good, and at the beginning of each split we were like, wow, the changes have made sense. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. A reminder, of course, XL only winning 2 games last split was not a good look. And I'll always feel bad for Odoamne, because I remember last split, I remember telling him, like, it can only go up from here. And then he said to me, well, we could get 10th again. And then I was like, surely not. Yeah. Then history happened. In any case,
they did get one more win in spring than they did in winter. Though.
True.
So it is improvement overall, you know?
See if they can make it 3 here in summer. Patrik and Limit, as we expected, a lot of power in terms of this Draven and Rakan duo. So already they're looking for a couple of favorable trades, Comp getting chipped away at, and they're looking to set up a bit of a push. Peach on his way towards the bot side of the map, has cleared the full top side, but I see Malrang hovering around mid lane as well. Perhaps they're just to cover Larssen, or maybe even looking for an early game.
It's Malrang, he's looking for an early game.
That's
Come on,
true.
the guy's level 3, he hasn't cleared any of his topside camps. Peach is already a camp ahead and about to be 2 as he's going to secure this blue. As you said, pathing towards that bot lane. The wave should push out before he gets down that, but another wave coming in. Patrik and Limit might try and get the crash re-established for that Wukong gank. Limit dashing in, does get the knock up onto Comp, can dash out, and this is just trading. Just trying to get the AD carry as low as possible. Of course, Advienne and Comp do have 3 combat summoners to the 2 only from XL.
Yeah, Limit gave Patrik that initial shield from the E, then applied the knock-up. Even though Patrik had the tower aggro, he kind of tanked the tower shot with that shield and then got the second shield to mitigate as much damage as possible without putting Limit in any real danger. So, very nice trade in the 2v2. Peach has now done a full clear, will make his way onto the crowd. I don't really expect a dive here. One of the hard parts is that Abbedagge is being pushed underneath his tower. They've gotten information on him. Peach now hovering around mid. That wave is in a bit of an awkward spot for Larssen, but he has the safety of his top side. And move away. So this should tell XL that there is some information there, that KOI know exactly where Peach is. Can Malrang and Larssen actually create the collapse here?
I think he gets out.
He should be fine.
Yep. There's the recall. Razorbeak spawn in front of his face, but he can't steal them away from Malrang and gets that burst base off. Double longsword for Peach. Expect to see the Sunderer from the Wukong. Still a very strong item, although we have seen a few players that, or a few champions that like Sunderer moving over to the Triforce. Jax specifically does seem to like the Triforce in some situations.
Yeah, Triforce really has made a bit of a resurgence on a bunch of champions.
Yep.
But we'll see what itemization we get in this game. Early back for Patrik and Limit. As a reminder as well, we do have a very unique, we have a very unique overlay. And just some fun facts while we have a bit of a slow early game that you can look at. So if you look at the icon, you'll see XP bar. But also if you look at someone like Patrik, you'll also identify the level and the number of stacks that the Draven is sitting on as well. So you can keep track of that throughout the game if you want to. But things like XP, runes, all that good stuff. And actually, Medic, you can show people the runes as well. You should have a little button that you can...
I can, yeah. I'm just trying to find where my mouse was. So there we are. There's the runes.
Very, very nice. So, yeah, we have all the really cool information that you could possibly need. But a very slow start to Game 3 here, man.
I mean, it's 5 minutes in. You know, like, I think just generally with the way League of Legends is right now, things tend to be a little bit slower. Yeah. Like, Rakan and Yuumi aren't lane dominant support, so you're not really going to have too much action down there unless Comp really missteps or Patrik really missteps. Top lane's a farm fest because Gragas exists and all he wants to do is, you know, chill and drink.
But let's look at this bot wave for a second, because this is going to be really important. This is the type of wave that you're going to want to look to threaten a dive on, right? True. You're going to have a level advantage, stacked wave. Jungler's already making his way to the bot side of the map. Ideally, you'd want to get that mid push and then potentially rotate.
So hopeful, man.
I was optimistic.
Oh, they're going to dive. They're going to dive. It's like, nah, Peach just going to start up the Drake.
Yeah, they're going to use that prio instead, because one of the issues that they're dealing with right now is Abbedagge is getting pushed underneath his tower. The vision control around mid lane has been very KOI favored. You'll see XL now clearing out this bot side vision, but there was a control ward on either side of the lane, and Abbedagge was basically forced underneath his tower, which made it much harder to get him unlocked on the map. Odoamne, though, a little bit overextended. Malrang is looking. His E is on cooldown right now.
Odo goes to the mid and half, flashes away. Malrang looking for the damage. The must standard flash forward. Malrang secures first blood.
So the awkward position that Odoamne found himself in was that with XL committing to the bot side of the map, that meant that Malrang knew he was very safe to make a play on top side, and as Odoamne tries to push that wave underneath the tower, he ends up getting collapsed on and will hand over first blood to KOI.
But in the sort of ranking of epicness of fights, I think taking down a dragon is cooler than taking down a little Yordle, you know?
Yeah, but they kill dragons every day.
They kill Yordles every day as well.
I mean, not true.
No?
Not always a Yordle in every game.
Yeah, but
but there is a dragon every game.
That is true, actually.
Check
Yep.
and mate. Who's technically correct now?
You.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Remember that.
It's the best kind of correct, Ben.
Technically.
For the moment, even though there is a kill up towards that top lane, Malrang getting on the board, I don't really think it's going to mean too much more. Odo's a little bit more scared because he doesn't have that flash, but Gnar still relatively safe with the ability to hop on a minion and just bounce away from the action. Peach has hit level 6. Could look towards top lane. Szygenda no ultimate for about a quarter of its cooldown, but my expectation is that Peach will keep doing what Peach does, and that is farming.
Yeah, he is just a full clear machine, isn't he?
Yep.
He's like neutral objective drag. Well, now surely we'll see swap up to top side maybe for an early Herald.
I think that would make sense from XL. You can see the back already coming out from Limit. He is just short of 6, probably about half a minion wave to
look at that. On
4 minions.
Peach in position, gets the crab and the Herald on spawn. He's going to start that one off. Limit already on his way, just short of level 6. Maybe he makes his way down towards mid to try and get that level 6. Draven going to stick underneath the tower as Comp and Advienne now making their way up. Advienne just ticked over to 6. Peach very much isolated here on the Herald.
Abbedagge is coming in from the side though, and as you say, Limit joining up. One of the risks of Yuumi is you can't really roam around by yourself. Larssen waiting in the bush here, holding the charm. Lands it onto Limit. Comp and Advienne up the way through the mid lane. Limit trying to dash away, will get over the wall. The Cataclysm coming out as well as Larssen dashes forward with the Spirit Rush. Limit flashes, Larssen secures him with the Foxfire and gets another Spirit Rush charge as Abbedagge starts to fall low. No mana on the Annie means that he will fall. And KOI absolutely ripped through the fight.
Comp and Advienne's collapse was quick enough that even though initially it felt like XL had that numbers advantage, KOI were able to turn it in their favor. The good news for XL is they will secure that first Herald. They can use that to get a little bit more gold into the Draven. But these early kills going in favor of KOI. They hold on to the early game gold lead for now, and Larssen being the one to pick up all these kills is definitely going to put KOI in a great position. Again, look at the minimap. You'll see a nice sidestep from Limit using the E. The engage onto Abbedagge forces him to flash out. The hard commitment from Larssen knows that he's going to get the reset on the ultimate to allow him to be able to quickly get out of the fight. And then with the arrival of the bot lane of KOI, means that there's very little that XL can do to fight back.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where as soon as you see Comp and Advienne not in the lane, I wonder if you call that one off. Also trading onto Limit once again, he's down below 200 HP. First Mythic complete, Malrang will get the Radiant Virtue, was changed a little bit over the 13.10, I think it was, as a little bit less expensive, does a little bit less for you, but still, in essence, the same item, Radiant Virtue. It's sort of tailored towards supports ever so slightly. But with 1,000 gold lead, KOI in a strong position in this game, Vedi. Rift Herald wasn't picked up for them. Instead, Peach got it, so he still has 100% neutrals in the LEC. And for him, that's what he's tracking. You know?
Peach going to face check into Malrang here. But nothing really going to come off the back of it. Thinking back to that Herald, I think one of the awkward positions that XL had was that by choosing to keep Patrik in bot lane, they didn't want KOI to be able to trade plates for the Herald. Of course, the downside of that meant that Comp and Advienne could rotate first. And yeah, so it was a bit of an awkward wave state. And I think this is one of the problems that we're seeing for XL in terms of the early game. I think that there were windows where they could have actually tried to threaten Comp and Advienne before they got to those level 6 mark. Because once you get level 6 on both the Xayah and the Yuumi, that's where things really get much harder to be able to kill them. All the resistances and the shielding that Yuumi can provide at level 6. Along with Comp's ultimate, means that it's a very safe bot lane. And now, how are you going to cash in these Draven stacks? Is going to be the challenge. Of course, that snap engage that we talked about for XL means that they're definitely still in this game. First dragon is theirs, 20 seconds until the next one spawns. But Peach is pathing up towards top, and the vision control largely in favor of KOI. And with this push in bot and mids, they likely can convert it.
Pathing towards top. By that, do you mean the Krogs, Vedius?
Yes.
Because this is his only camp this up, Vedi. We know where he's going. The guy wants his gold and his XP, and he will secure those Krogs in the top lane. Could, of course, use the Rift Herald up here, but with KOI having total control of the bottom side of the map, the dragon should be a piece of cake for them.
Well, the thing you have to be careful of as well. So this is one way in which you kind of gain push back over an Ahri, is that you drop your full combo, chunk her out, make it much harder for her to actually walk up to the wave. Peach is now hovering around top.
Wave played out, the Gnar, flash forward by Odoamne, TP coming out, Odo tanking the tower. Peach gonna have to dash out of this one as well as Larssen joins the fight. Charm used, but the decoy blocks it for Peach.
KOI though, they're still going to be able to secure the dragon. They will have to invest their TP. Peach looking for an all-in.
Larssen can Spirit Rush away. Peach flashes forward with the charm. Does just slip by him as the TP from Szygenda was there to bolster the defenses of this topside jungle, and in the end, all that really equates to is a wave loss to the mid lane. I wonder if Peach is just going to put down the Rift Herald here. Plates expire in about 2 minutes. This is a good opportunity to make sure you get at least 2 plates out of the Herald charge. Malrang trying to stop that from happening, but can't take down the Herald before she charges in. 2 plates fall in the mid lane.
With the turret plate changes, it's a little bit harder to just completely snowball through those towers like it used to be. Often you'd see those stacked waves into dive threats, into full tower snowballs, and then the game could almost be decided. That's a lot harder now. Often you'll just use that Herald to inject a little bit more gold, which is why those trades, you have to make sure that it's really worth it, because you can potentially get so many more plates on the cross map. Yeah, so got any plans for birthday, Manic?
No, not really.
No.
I'm kind of like, I'm not a really big birthday guy. Like, I appreciate it when people do stuff for me. I'm very, like,
That's nice.
you know, it's very kind of them. Get me cards and such. Very, incredibly generous and magnanimous people that would give me a card.
Yeah. Actually, very true.
Yeah, I think that's important to acknowledge, that those people are actually probably even better than me on my birthday. They should be the real stars of the show, the people that give me the cards.
You know, I've never had a card from you on my birthday. Oh,
Look,
they paused. That's how shocked they are by this
I got you
news.
a whole LAN party for your last birthday.
You did, that's
yeah,
true.
I set up a whole LAN party for you. I invited a ton of people.
That's true.
I got you cake as well.
You did get me cake.
I did.
And actually, the most memorable part about that was the Spider-Man cutlery, the children's cutlery that you got for said cake.
Oh, that was my girlfriend.
And then you made me take it home and said, that was a gift.
Yeah, it was a gift.
I still have it.
Shows how much it meant to you.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
yeah, but no major plans. I might go home and play some Diablo.
Oh, yeah.
D4. I'm doing Nightmare Dungeons at the moment. I've got to level 50 with my Bone Spear Necro build.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
just for those wondering, there's a pause.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Vedi podcast.
We don't know what the pause is about right now. And in all honesty, stuff's happened on the game. KOI are winning. It's 1-1 in Dragons. I mean, they're 2,000 gold ahead.
Yeah,
Everyone
2,000.
has a lead. They have Yuumi.
It's a fun first game back, Medic.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Oh, yeah, but I've been spamming Nightmare Rifts. It's quite fun. My issue is there's an aspect that's really rare that just isn't dropping for me. And apparently this is a big issue for lots of people.
Really?
Yeah, because you can't farm the aspect specifically.
I see.
It's like a lucky hit chance that gets me essence back, you know?
You know, I was kind of hoping this would be like more comedic rather than like you actually telling me about your evening.
I mean, I started with the comedy. I gave you the comedy to meet. It was that
and then you're
little
like, I'm
appetizer.
out. Now I'm just going to tell you about my
Appetizer
day.
of comedy before I give you my life story.
I guess
That is
that's
how
the
I've got
struggle
every girlfriend in my life.
The struggle of old age, eh? Just one joke and then that's it.
These bones, they be
Soon
hurting.
you'll be reliving stories of the glory days.
Yeah.
Do you miss being young?
Not really.
No, it sucked actually,
Yeah, it
thinking
did.
back.
I was,
Having a car, being able to buy what you want. It's nice.
For the moment, though, XL are looking to try and drive something through this mid lane.
They want
TP
this
coming
top tower.
from Abbedagge. Peach is here. Szygenda has the ultimate, has the
wave
flash.
it's quite awkward.
And
Szygenda
Gragas
feels
is
something.
very hard to gank.
Yeah, you can see. Nice wave clear from Szygenda.
Odo looking for the Gnar, misses it. The sun comes out though, and Szygenda flashes away and survives for the moment.
No.
Peach slowed as well.
Oh.
Peach, you will fall. You just don't dive at Gragas. Just don't do it. The whirling death is a whirling whiff as well.
Oh, Szygenda, he just makes fun of XL. He played that about as well as he could have. Clears out the wave, is able to sidestep all the major damage threats. They engage on the mid.
Comp, gonna use the cleanse early there. Final chapter as well, popped by Advienne. I will just bring us back to the fact that we have a report on the pause. It was KOI reporting a peripheral issue. It was a quick resolution. So we are obviously back into the game.
So let's not forget that while XL were attempting to dive top lane, KOI also secured the bot lane tower.
Yes.
So they not only secured the first outer tower, they also prevented XL from getting any kills. And while, of course, XL do have that first Drake after losing the second, and now likely losing the Herald, this game is very quickly falling out of control on XL. And we'll look back, you saw Szygenda clearing out the wave. Odoamne then wants to try and lose tower aggro. That means that Abbedagge gains tower aggro. He's then forced to disengage. And then Peach, did the Tibbers get in his way?
I don't think he's reaching it anyway. I think there is a little bit of like,
But
he
I saw
wasn't
that
ghosted, so he had to sidestep. Abbedagge died afterwards as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, well, KOI really did just get everything, didn't they? And you can see him looking across the stage. That's a great way to start off your split. KOI currently 5-0. And looking good here in game one.
But they are
4K is the gold lead.
in a very strong position to close this one out from here. Although we thought perhaps the action would be based more around the bottom lane, it hasn't been all that. Much more about these Rift-held fights and fights on the top side of the map. Imperial Mandate already complete for Advienne. That mythic, sorry, non-mythic. And you can rush it on the Yuumi.
you're gonna have to get used
a lot of damage down, yeah. It's weird that it's changed, but it has. Still gives you basically everything it used to give you, and alongside an Enchanter like the Yuumi, helps you out a ton. Rift-held charges in the top lane. The crowd goes mild as the tower does fall. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, XL, Peach and Abbedagge just trying to get a push in, but you are losing
Szygenda's gonna ruin their day again, isn't he? Everfrost.
Oh, he knocks Peach back!
Ooh, cute.
Peach has been sitting out in the sun too long. Looks like he's gone a little bit rotten here as he's going to get chased away by Szygenda. TP in by Larssen. Spirit Rush available. Peach Peach is back in. Abbedagge gets a good double stun off. Peach goes in with the Cyclone. Abbedagge with the stopwatch as well. The Whirling Death coming down. And in the end, XL will get on the board. They knock Larssen into the wall, but Abbedagge low as the rest of KOI begin to descend. And XL's life bars begin to descend as well. 7-1 now for KOI. A quick trip to South America for them as XL have only been able to get that kill on Patrik.
The TP from Odoamne to try and salvage what was a very awkward situation just results in another kill for KOI. 7-1 is the score now. We will have another pause. Once we get more information, we'll share it with you. But let's have a look back at this. Szygenda walks up. He sees that the slow is applied to Peach. Says, you know what? He's in range here. Everfrost ults to knock him underneath the tower. The Q4's a little short. I don't know if the instant proc would have been enough damage, but maybe it would have been. Regardless, that was all they needed to have Larssen TP in and say, you know what, we can get ourselves some kills here. Good ultimate from Abbedagge to land the stun. Alongside Peach, they have a lot of damage here. Gets the W out, which means that they can't quite get that kill initially, but Szygenda is low enough that once Odoamne joins the fray, he can get himself that kill. Oh, it's actually Patrik who picks it up with the Whirling Death. Yeah, so he will secure himself a bit of extra gold. I don't think he's died this game, so he should have gotten a lot of gold off of that.
350 sacks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, observers, if you could... actually, yeah, we got some time, observers. If you can quickly... Yeah, they're going to do that for us right now.
987 gold!
Thank you very much, observers. So that was a nice cash-in for him.
And he's still behind in gold. He's about 300 gold behind in that bottom lane. It's been a bit of a struggle bus game for XL.
Well, they didn't do much.
No.
And of the things that they did try to do, it didn't go well.
Yes.
And then when they attempted to do more things, it continued to fail.
Yeah. It sounds like my CV, I'm going to be honest.
It's not a great start for XL. Great start for KOI, though.
Yeah, really strong.
They, well, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I'd love to praise KOI, but really they're just punishing the mistakes of XL.
Yeah, but sometimes that's all you need to do, especially in your first game back. If your enemy team is making enough mistakes for you to win off just stopping them when they're making the mistakes, then it's fine for you. And we have to remember, they have got a new player. Advienne has subbed in. Yes, he's on the Yuumi, so probably not the most impact, at least mechanically, in this game. But I'm sure in comms and everything, he's having his voice heard in his quality.
That's your point? You know?
Look, I was thinking we should praise the fact that with a new player, they're doing pretty well. Sure. And then I remembered he's playing Yuumi and has done basically nothing this game apart from sit on people. I was like, well, he's on KOI and they're a fish and he's playing a cat, so at least he's got the lore, you know, Vedi?
Sure, true. Yeah, that's very true. That's a bit of a stretch, though, admittedly. Player accidentally alt-tabbed, causing a monitor freeze. I read that. I read that from the prompter.
That is what it says on our prompter.
That is what it says, yeah. That's a new one for me.
Yeah.
An alt-tab causing a monitor freeze?
I mean, it will be like some of the tracking software we're using or something to make sure that we can watch back the games, right? If you alt-tab, then the tracking software freaks out or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically like peripherals combined with other things.
Yeah.
So league officials are getting involved.
So what have you done during the break?
Nothing. It's been great, honestly.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
I've watched a lot of League. Like I watched Kadril's co-streams, like all of them. That man talks a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he talks a lot. But a lot of what he says, very insightful.
No. The bits where he's talking about League, very insightful.
Yeah, very insightful.
I don't think we can say that's a lot a lot of what he says.
I mean, that's what
I've
I
watched
tune
his
into.
stream.
That's what I
It's
tune
like,
into.
Hey guys, how you doing? 6 if you're good, 9 if you're bad.
That's true.
Oh, any rats in chat? Oh, Dom, how you feeling, Dom? Huh?
That's true. He does do that.
That is
But
very entertaining.
He cares.
It's very
He wants
entertaining.
to know how you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure he just picked those numbers at random.
I think so. It's probably because they're the same number, just flipped. You know, it's comical, you know?
There's letters like that as well.
Are there?
W, put it on its side. What is it?
On its side?
Yeah, like this. You take the W and flip it 90 degrees. What letter are we talking
That's not a letter.
It's an E.
No, it's not.
Betty, it's an E, man.
E's are straight, mate.
A W can be straight.
No, it's angled.
It depends on your typeface.
No, you've got curvy W.
Okay, it's a cursive E.
It's a...
Okay, and then flip it 90 degrees again. What letter's that?
No, if you flip... It's... What? No.
It's an M.
Yeah, it's an M.
And then flip it 90 degrees again. What's that?
What? I don't know.
It's a 3.
That's a number, though. That's not a...
Okay, I didn't say... Like, you don't have to have a letter for a letter.
All right, I'll give you P. P is an easy one.
P is great, yeah.
If you flip P, you got a D.
Yeah. And a B.
And a B, but that's a lowercase.
And a Q.
Nah, you don't have a Q. There's no extra line there, mate. The thing that distinguishes a Q...
A Q is just a circle with a line going down.
No.
You don't need the tick at the end.
What separates a P and a Q is that
They're
single
facing different
dash.
directions.
Nah,
they literally face it. Betty, I know your Spanish
Wait,
alphabet
P,
isn't great,
hang on a second.
but like your
we're
P
back in the game.
Q.
Good. We don't have to fact check that. Dragon gonna go down for KOI. Wow, don't KOI look great?
They do. They look really good right now. 7-1 is the score. They are 4,000 gold ahead. They get the third dragon of the game. They're second. And we already have, Mythic for comp. He's got the Kraken Slayer. Mandate, as we said, on Advienne. XL trying to find things to do, but you can see where Peach has just run through. That topside jungle is entirely warded, so he's been spotted on his entire path through here. And for KOI, you just don't have to approach this. Szygenda has already fought off a 1v3 earlier in this game. I'm sure he's very happy to do it again. And for KOI, it's all about getting the pressure in the side lanes, translating that into the mid lane. You can see Larssen down towards the bottom side. He'll push in that wave, then can move towards mid, and you can try and break this mid lane tier 1.
I imagine that will be the game plan for KOI. Their vision continues to be very strong. The control over the map they have. Oh, limits this.
Ooh, good ward.
Yeah, a bit of a dangerous ward. Ideally, we would have wanted to try and do it over the wall or something, but bit of a play being set up here by Peach. Larssen on the flank, just trying to zone away Limit, and he's doing some very good damage.
And that was without hitting the charm as well. Limit's already down to a 3rd HP. There's the tower falling in the mid lane. You can see XL really a bit at 6s and 7s, don't know exactly how to approach this fight. Odoamne caught out once again. Peach looking for that dash across the wall, but I think he will have been spotted by Malrang and by Advienne. Advienne, who's making a new best friend as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, with the Yuumi changes, the person you are on the longest is your best friend. It's always going to be the AD carry unless something drastically goes wrong in the bot lane and the support's just like, nah, I'm sitting on Kane for the rest of the game, I'm sorry.
You can see a nice little picture next to Advienne's name. Peach doing what he can to get the remnants of his jungle that is being ravaged by KOI right now. They continue to clear out vision. XL continues to get forced back as Malrang protects that vision. But all across the board, it's just pressure for KOI. They have push and bot, mid, top. They might be waiting for Baron. Excuse me. They might be waiting for Baron. I think it's a little ambitious to do it the second that it spawns. But yeah, the main goal right now for KOI is to suffocate XL. Slowly chip away at these towers. Of course, they already have the tier 2 in top lane. Keep these waves pushed in, wait for XL to overextend. They know that there is a ward in this brush, but they don't have any sweepers or pinks to be able to clear that one out right now.
And you can tell it's all about suffocation because Malrang has a blue buff, a Gromp, some Wolves, Razorbeaks, and Krugs all available to him, but instead he is just standing in the XL jungle to make sure they can get these waves crashing. Baron now up as we crest over the 20-minute mark. KOI could look for it. Over the last few minutes, they've denied as much vision around it as possible, and the single ward that was there, that was just over the wall in the mid lane, has now expired. So, apart from the ward in the pit, XL totally in the dark about KOI's decisions over the next couple of minutes. Oh, we're gonna see a double buff, Eddie. This is probably the most exciting thing that's happened in the last few minutes. One buff, it's 2 buffs.
Yeah, it's old Ivan, now just part of the game.
Only happens after the jungler has their Smite'em fully upgraded.
Smite'em?
Smite. Their Smite item. Smite'em. Pretty sure that was on the LCK years ago.
Oh.
Like when we had Tracker's Knife and Stalker's Blade. And
I've never heard the word Smite'em before.
You heard ornaments, like, right?
Smite'em, oh, Smitey, Smiter.
Shut up. Now I'm going forward. XO, maybe looking for a re-engage. Malrang from the side here. Patrik gets in. Malrang already very low, and they're going to get a double kill. KOI just way too overeager to step in. Szygenda forced away. Odoamne flashes Gnar into the wall. The double knockup into a double knockup. Larssen dashes away with the spirit rush, but he's low, and Peach will chase him down. And what were KOI thinking?
Just like that, XL are likely going to secure a Baron. They've gotten themselves 4 kills. They've gotten themselves a bunch of gold back. And KOI, what was a near flawless game, consistently punishing the mistakes of XL, find themselves on the receiving end and are punished for an overstep.
It was just so greedy. Like Malrang going in without Szygenda there. They try and dash it, and there's a control ward here.
Well, so the fight is over for the control ward, right?
Yeah.
And XL, well,
But
KOI
Charm
rather,
is
they're
gone,
feeling
EQ
confident.
is gone.
Yeah, a lot of the utility is gone here. And then they sit there and go, hang on, Gragas isn't here. We have a good flank TP, and they just nuke him. Comp isn't in a position to really fight. XL know they have the numbers advantage, and they just stop playing scared. You know, they actually commit to the fight. And a great play from Odoamne. The follow-up chain CC is good. While Comp does get a kill back, the damage is done. XL, they get a bunch of shutdowns, and they secure themselves the Baron.
Gold is even, Vedi. Baron as well, as you say, for XL for the next 2 minutes. And
now we got a pretty interesting game,
yeah.
Medic.
I mean, because there's so much standing gold as well for XL. All these towers still remain. Top lane tier 1 is their first target. They'll give over the third Drake for KOI. 2 clouds for them alongside that Chemtech, but the tier 1 will fall in the top lane. That's more gold into XL's pockets. They can look for the tier 2 as well with this Baron up minion wave. It's only going to get bolstered by the next wave coming forward. And from this position, this game is very winnable for XL.
Oh, for sure. And the important thing to recognize is that while we see a 1.3k gold lead in favor of Larssen, that Medjai's lost all the stacks.
Yep.
So in terms of value items, the 2 mid laners are very comparable right now. Whereas the advantage is gained in top, Odoamne should feel a lot more empowered in the side lane. The reason why he can't really push very deep is because XL lack a lot of control. But now with the Baron, they should be able to get a little bit more push. And it comes back to what we were talking about in the comps, where this XL draft does have that very powerful snap engage. Their ability to just start a fight is very fast and very lethal. And we talked about them now being able to reclaim some of that vision. Look, they move into the bot side with the Baron buff. They're looking to open up this tier 2 tower and try and get more gold funneled into their carries and close this gap. Well, extend this gap now. 600 gold lead, no, 1.3k gold lead rather. And XL looking a lot more comfortable now. But it's all well and good winning a team fight, getting a Baron. All you've done is stabilize. Yep. You now need to convert this into a winning game state. All you've really done is neutralize things. Sure, you've been able to get yourselves a tower, but you've equalized the towers. You've closed the gap in kills. You've closed the gold gap. But the itemization very even. Execution of the fights is going to be very important. And the next dragon is likely going to decide a lot. So 3 minutes until that's up and available. Baron, of course, yet to run out, but I don't think that XL can really get much more out of it with the 15 seconds that they have remaining.
Yeah, I mean, 3k gold off it is a sizable chunk for them in the position that they were in. They take the gold lead. As you say, the next Drake, probably the key point of contest for these two teams. 3 items complete, though, on Patrik yet to die this game. Gale Force, Lord Dominic's, and the Essence Reaver. We have been seeing some Triforce Draven. It's situational where you want to go, especially in a game where you're not going to get too many auto attacks off. The Essence Reaver actually gives you a little bit more bang for your buck. And here, the burst damage is really what XL are looking for. On the other side, as you say, the Medjai's no stacks left on it, but 2 items for Szygenda. If he's there from the start of the fight, I think it becomes a lot trickier for XL to actually find those snap engages. The body slam, the explosive cask, makes it very difficult for Limit to actually get into the backline.
For sure. These fights are going to be super interesting. We're yet to really see a proper 5-on-5 fight because they've never really set up to contest around a neutral objective, you know? It's just really been trading and conceding, cross-mapping with largely KOI being the ones to come out on top. So will we actually get to see a 5v5? Ideally, I'd like one.
I feel like I'm teleported back to the MSI finals. No 5v5s allowed.
Yeah.
Instead, just burst damage. Szygenda takes away the blue here. Limit looking for the Shirelli. Szygenda has the Everfrost. Peach gets the knock up, but in all honesty, do you want to die with Gragas? Good stopwatch, flash, quickness. They're getting down with it. Wow! As Szygenda will fall to Odoamne. They got down with the quickness there, Vedi.
That they did, but Limit had to commit a lot. Limit used flash and ultimate. With the dragon spawning in a minute and a half, that is a very powerful engage that XL now don't have. Remember that the bot lane of KOI have everything up.
Limit's going to dash away the stun onto Malrang, though. He pops a stopwatch at the end, doing what he can. A good route, but it's only onto Peach's clone. Patrik dashing away, but he's shut down. Malrang low, EQ's forward once again. Limit trying to get the knock up. Abbedagge doesn't have the damage to work his way through the Jarvan. Dash away from Limit. Larssen still chasing forward here. Extra movement speed, the charm dodge by Abbedagge. Fancy feet to get away from all of it. And in the end, it's just a 1-for-1.
As you rightly said, 1-for-1. I didn't quite get to see how much shutdown gold went over, though, because you have to imagine that Patrik, in the position that he was in, maybe he actually didn't even have a shutdown. We'll keep our eyes on comp here, but the engage from Malrang is very good. EQ over the wall. They know a lot of the engage tools from XL are gone. Lands a 3-man ultimate. Is able to soak up a lot of the return engage from XL. And then comp is in a free hitting position. Larssen lands a great charm onto Patrik. And then the execution comes through from comp. I'm not sure if it was the Gale Force or it was just an auto attack that ended up landing the final blow, but regardless, of course he doesn't have the Gale Force, so that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's probably an auto attack then
probably,
in that situation.
Yeah, probably
but
was. Yeah, probably was. But yeah, really good re-engage from KOI. Just a great awareness that XL had already committed so much into getting that initial pick. Limits Flash still going to move ways off cooldown. The Dragon now available, but XL is saying, you know what, Baron is up as well. Go ahead, take that Dragon, we don't care. We're going to start off this objective, but this could be a risky gamble. Larssen over the wall.
Limit has the quickness. Larssen trying to get in there. Charm just short. Wallop short as well from Odoamne. Malrang gets onto Peach on the back line. That Baron down to 2,000. Engaged down towards the bottom side as they try and get onto Comp. He dashes away, but he's stunned against the wall. The Baron secured. Malrang gets it, but already Comp has fallen, as has Advienne. XL trying to clean up the fight afterwards. They've already taken 3 Barons away from KOI. 2 will escape, but XL win out the fight.
The smite from Peach was far too early. Malrang calmed and composed in the pit with Larssen, was able to secure the objective, but it's XL to walk away with the fight. Our first full-on 5v5, and it did feel like XL kind of walked away the victors. The fact that Patrik picked up the triple kill, his positioning was great there. With the fight being so divided, it made it very easy for Patrik to just hit the target in front of him. And XL will, at the very least, secure themselves Soul.
In fact, they'll just get a Dragon Betty. It's only their second of the game. If KOI had got that, it would have been Soul. They get the Soul point taken away. Have another look at this Baron fight.
And you can see that engage onto the backline with Malrang and Larssen. Their focus is on the Baron. The smite will come through from Peach. He's trying to execute it with the Q. Not enough damage, only about 1,300. Meanwhile, on the backline, though, Odoamne gets great CC landed onto the bot lane. Patrik is there to follow up. Larssen does what he can to get that last bit of execution, but the damage is too much, and he commits his flash, not really for anything.
I think it's a difficult situation for Peach. He's had some moments in this game that have looked a bit awry, but there he's facing a 1v2 at a Baron. All he can try and do is, you know, Sheen proc into Smite to secure the Baron. The rest of his team winning the fight on a separate front. Still about 1,000 gold between these two teams, Vedi. Both the AD carries, key points of focus in the next team fight, but with no Dragon and no Baron up for the next few minutes. I wonder if we'll just see KOI trying to push in with the Baron buffs that they do have remaining. One on Malrang and one on Szygenda. They're going to try and shove in this bot lane. Limit waiting. Spotted out. Because of course you'd wait in that bush. And KOI do the right thing to cross their T's and dot their I's. Check every corner to make sure that XL couldn't find one of their snap engages.
Once again, good awareness from KOI. They keep the pressure up in mid. They spot out the potential flank from Peach on the blue buff. Odoamne getting a good trade onto Szygenda. Limit commits the ult.
That's the flash forward as well. Szygenda does have the ultimate, has the stopwatch as well, but might just be buying time for the rest of his team. They're pushing in the bot lane. That tower will fall. And in the end, it's a turret for KOI in exchange for Szygenda's life.
It's become a very messy game. Odoamne
175 equals 300 is what I've heard, Betty, in the past.
It's... he just realizes that Szygenda, you're by yourself. You don't win this 1v1. And he just all-ins him. No reason not to. He knows that all of KOI are on the bot side of the map. There's no way for them to be able to rotate over. And even if they did, Peach was in a position to kind of force them to go the long way, at the very least start a fight with him. Level 18 now for Odo. 2.3k is the gold lead for him, which is where a lot of the gold lead is sitting on. The AD carries very even in itemization. That QSS finished up for Comp.
Medjai's almost complete for Larssen, though. He will put out a lot of damage in these next fights. He's been on point with the army as well. Yes, sorry. What did I say?
Medjai's. I was like, he's at 0 stacks. I was going to say, like, he's nowhere close to completing his Medjai's.
It's the first day back after a break, Betty.
No, I get it.
But you know.
It's fine.
But yes, almost has the death cap, as you say. And we'll give him that extra burst of DPS in these fights. He has been on point with the charms. We saw in the fight down towards the bottom lane, him catching out Patrik. Allowed them to win that battle. Peach doing what he can to try and track Malrang. Maybe looking to see if Larssen had overstepped. Comp running down towards this bottom lane though, and Odoamne maybe a little bit too far forward as Comp starts to open up. Odoamne down to half HP, but that Gnar is shut down, and Advienne takes the kill. A huge shutdown there, 800 gold. Going into the pockets of the Yuumi, who already has her full build because she's got Echoes of Helia and Imperial Mandate. Cataclysm now forward as Abbedagge flashes away. Limit dashes and dances and prances his way back towards safety as well.
They're committing to this though.
Spirit Rush, Abbedagge locked up, charmed up, and shut out of the fight. KOI find 2 quick kills.
Pick into pick. XL.
Wait, no, Limit, get out of the shot, man. There's a time for looking at Jordans, and there's a time to make sure you're not about to die. And this one is very much the second. Limit dashes away from it, but uses his ultimate for it.
Larssen back to base. Will use his TP now to keep the minion alive. Give them more time to siege onto this tower. 2 still dead on XL. Means that KOI can easily do some damage in the base. And they'll walk away to safety. Baron up in about a minute's time. They don't want to overcommit here. They know that trying to end would be, well, a bit overzealous, I would say.
Cloud Drake up in a minute as well. We'll see.
Yeah, it's turned into a very scrappy and chaotic game overall.
I think that kind of is indicative of today's games. All of the games today have been a bit messy, been a bit all over the place.
True. Everyone kind of getting back onto the stage, reminding what it feels like, getting used to it, making the correct decisions. Sometimes we've seen a bit of hesitancy. Obviously, we've seen some execution failures, but yeah, a lot of picks. A lot of picks in this game. And now we set up for the Dragon once more. The Baron, of course, spawning very soon as well. KOI have control of the mid right now with the super minions. They're going to keep that push up. KOI trying to poke and prod, get information as to where XL is. Patrik lays in the fog of war. Abbedagge, no flash, means that one of those engage tools isn't available. They are concerned about Limit's flank, though, and they're warding to accommodate. See him now moving towards the bot side of the map, looking to try and get in from behind.
Dragon already down to 8,000 HP. Limit marked by Szygenda. He keeps him at bay. Peach going forward onto the Dragon. It would be sold for KOI if they can get it. Only third of the game for XL. Odoamne. That Mega Gnar about to expire. They dash in, they dive in. Larssen able to dash away, but it's shut down in the end. The Dragon goes over to XL as well as Malrang tries to get onto the backline, but he's shut out of it. And now, even though Peach has fallen, XL have a numbers advantage for the next fight. KOI looking to see if anyone takes the greedy route, anyone takes the quick path back to mid. None do. XL will get the Drake. They'll get out with a man advantage, but Comp is trying to even out the score. Comp cleanses away the dash in from Limit. Patrik trying to flash out as well, but Comp has already taken them out. Comp with 2 more. As KOI now a player advantage for them as they push in fact, 2 players ahead. Odoamne, the last man standing, the last bastion of defense for XL.
Even when they're at a disadvantage in numbers, KOI are able to come out on top. Comp really clutching up alongside Szygenda. Odo doing what he can.
The cleanse away, the QSS from the Mercurial Scimitar is enough to stop the stun, to stop Odoamne in his tracks, and in the end, KOI almost threw it, but they will claim their first win of summer.
I was not expecting Comp to just tear them apart at the very end there. The damage was massive. And Szygenda with a really great barrel to buy him a lot of time as well. Means that KOI will walk away the victors here in game 1. It was a very messy game. Picks across the board. It felt like, though, that the game was done and dusted. Props to XL for finding that punish and being able to bounce back in this game. But then they made a number of mistakes themselves. You know, getting caught out in side lanes, individual picks here and there. And really, it was KOI that found that pick that they needed. Well, actually, no, they lost the team fight, right? Like, they didn't get themselves the Drake.
Lost it, but then they positioned in a way that they could catch XL as they walked through, you know?
Yeah, and then it was just Comp.
Yeah.
Just feathering everyone.
Credit to Advienne as well. He built Echoes of Helia and Imperial Mandate, and so he did his job as the Yuumi in that situation.
Yeah. Let it go.
It definitely helped with the damage later on. I think Comp was full build at that point, so we saw the Mercurial coming out from him at the end to make sure they could clean up the game, and it's a good start for KOI. I think they'll want to clean up that messy mid-game. For XL, some signs of life, but still a bit of a struggle for this team to find their way off the bottom of the table.
Still, of course, game 1. Expectations would be that against a team like KOI, you wouldn't really be considered the favorites in a matchup like this. So we'll see how the rest of their season progresses. But yeah, when your expectations are that you need to be finishing this season in top 3.
At least.
And that's even the optimistic finish. Ideally, you just want to win the split. Given the position you are in points, this is not the best first game showing that you can have.
No, not at all. Your player of the game votes, though, at LEC on Twitter are Malrang, Larssen, and Comp. All 3 of them had great performances. I think Larssen's mid-game on the Ahri, his team fighting was very strong. I think Comp obviously did what he needed to do.
His early game was fantastic.
I think it just feels like it was so long ago that it was like everyone had isolated good times. Comp was very good throughout the whole game.
Caught a couple times.
And yeah, it's a bit tough.
It's tough.
I think Szygenda had a really good game. I think Advienne also did exactly what he needed to do.
It's probably Comp,
It's probably
Anyway, go to LEC at LEC on Twitter and you can share your vote. But we're ready for an interview.
Yes, indeed we are, Vedi. Thank you very much. Comp, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations also on the win. What a game. You guys got ahead in the early. Then if we can pop up the gold graph, it was an LPL-ish gold graph. It went up, down, down. What happened?
I'm actually not sure. I actually got surprised it went like this because at some point I think the score was like 5-0 and we were up I think 2 turrets to 0 and I just while we were like unpausing because there were plenty of pauses, I said to my team, let's make it a clean game and
it was an LPL graph.
Let's make it a clean game and I want like to lose 0 turrets this game and die 0 times and then yeah, didn't happen unfortunately, but we can be happy for the early game until some incidents, yeah.
I don't know, man. You know, LPL teams that win worlds and stuff, that's what their gold graph looks like. So I think you're in a good direction right here. What do you think could have gone more smooth in this game?
Sorry?
What do you think could have gone smoother this game?
I think definitely the way we were taking vision around Baron timer. I think sometimes we just felt like, because we were ahead, right, since the early game, we felt a bit more cocky than we should, and we let loose. So I think we should just respect a bit more and play better as a unit in some moments.
Talking about playing as a unit, of course, the bot lane is always playing as a unit. You guys are 2 down there. You have been playing with Trimby for almost 2 years at this point, and now Advienne joining right by your side. How has this switch been for you?
Well, I mean, about Trimby, I think definitely none of us wanted the first half of the year to go how it went, right? But yeah, I mean, Advienne has been really great now. There's definitely like the reface, like whenever a new player joins a team, it's always like a new, fresh kind of player, and especially the way he is as a personality. So, I mean, it's been great. I'm having a lot of fun playing with him. I think he's also very, very eager to learn, and I can really speak to him about anything, about little details for our lanes and stuff. So he really helps me, yeah.
Yeah, and of course he has an LEC champion right by his side to teach him a few things. Talking about the LEC championship though, since the 2023 year has not been so good, what have you reflected on that you need to do better as an individual?
I think I have reflected a lot on myself, considering how, as I said before, right, first half of the year went for us, because none of us planned it to go like this, unfortunately. But I took it very personal in a way that I think right now I'm stepping way more as a teammate, like just overall as a human, right? And I think my performance right now, I'm like really confident on myself. I can even say I'm like back to Malmo level.
Okay.
So yeah, let's see how it goes from here.
Well, we hope we see this again. Congratulations, the first win. Σε ευχαριστώ πολύ, Comp, για τη συνέντευξη. And we're gonna go on to a very quick break. This time I'm not gonna ask you to not come back. You should come back because we have a banger of a game, G2 versus Vedius, coming up next.
Nice wave clear from Szygenda.
Odoamne with an art, misses it. The sun comes out though, and Szygenda flashes away and survives for the moment. He's slowed as well. H4, you just don't dive. A Gragas.
I think we win. Kill the speed. I can go. Yeah. Look. Ahri. Almost dead. Nice. I think Nash.
Excel will get the drink. They'll get out with a man advantage, but Comp is trying to even out the score. Comp cleanses away the dash in from limit.